Donald Trump is having a bad one, and we'll look at videos that he posted. You could describe this with how many of them there were and how angry he was in them as a rage bender. Okay, TM, and let's just dive into it because he's trying to claw back support in the only way he knows how, which is attack with lies his opponent. Here we go.
Comrade Kamala Harris is terrible for our country, absolutely terrible. She is a communist, has always been a communist, and will always be a communist. Under her leadership, the USA will fail, and fail like never before. It will go down. We don't even have a chance. We will not let that happen. November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Go out and vote.
Anyone else feel like, if you'll keep his split screen, Jaden, when you get a close-up shot, I know this isn't so important, but of him speaking, it seems like sort of a lot of energy has to go into getting his lips around his teeth as he's talking. Strange. But on the point about communism, I know some of you here, Kamala Harris is a communist, Comrade Kamala, and you think, oh, you get mad because it's so inaccurate. It's just sort of ridiculous, and we've been hearing this for how long now? If you elect a Democrat, Barack Obama, we're going to be a communist nation, and then he just recovers the economy and leaves, and things are generally so much better than they were whenever he came into office. And then Biden's going to be a communist, you're going to lose all of your freedoms. Same thing, takes us out of that crisis, recovers, things are much better now than whenever he took over. And now they're saying with Kamala Harris, and people believe it. So I get why you would go, oh, that's so annoying. I posit to you, do something different. Feel really joyful that that's the best he has. Because most Americans, and you can see this in undecided voters, how they react to that talking point, go, okay, obviously not. What else? What's your actual criticism? What else? What actually is there I should be concerned with? Because if you're just going to scream, communist, we've been hearing this forever, we don't believe it. When we hear her talk, she's not acting like a communist. And her running mate, they call him a communist. And he's the governor of a state that's ranked 6th best for business in our capitalist system. So it's all ridiculous. So I actually feel happy because I go, that's not going to work. Next one.
Crazy Kamala wants to defund the police.
Why are you shouting? Why are you shouting? The camera's right there, Donald.
Crazy Kamala wants to defund the police. She's always wanted to defund the police. From day one, she wanted to defund the police. Now she's probably changing that policy in order to get elected. But the police are smart. Almost 100% of the police all over the country have given me their total support and endorsement. There's not going to be any defunding of the police under my watch.
Again, I guess I'm just sort of in the mood to critique the appearance, and then we'll talk about the substance. Could you zoom out the camera a little, Jaden, while I make this point? We've been dealing with this whole thing for a long time, right? And when you can see it, and be prepared to zoom back in when I tell you, okay? When you can see it, it's weird. By the way, podcast listeners, I'm doing the accordion hands. It's weird, but we're used to it. Now zoom back in. As I continue to do, this is like a tutorial, the same hand motions, but as you can't see my hands anymore, it's just crazier because his body's just sort of moving while he's talking, but you don't have the context of his hands. So watch again with that.
Crazy Kamala wants to defund the police. She's always wanted to defund the police. From day one, she wanted to defund the police. Now she's probably changing that policy in order.
I heard someone make the point that as Trump notices he's telling more lies, his hands have to move more aggressively. And you really can see that because he says a lie and his body sort of contorts while he's saying it. An easy lie detector test with that one. But to the point that he's making, he's lying. Actually, under the Trump administration, there were proposed cuts for federal investments in policing, whereas largest federal investment has happened under the Biden-Harris administration, supported by Harris, to law enforcement and public safety more generally. And that has been happening, running parallel to one of the most rapid plummets in crime we've seen in a very long time. You don't have to hate Trump or MAGA or conservatism. You don't have to love Kamala Harris to be adult enough, mature enough, thoughtful enough to just actually engage with real facts and then make decisions, right? So actually look at the policy records of Trump versus Biden, Harris, and now obviously because Harris is the one on the ticket, Harris representing that administration's record. You can actually just go look. You can just check it out and see if what he's saying is correct. But it's not. He's lying. So then you have to ask why. Why is he lying? Maybe it's because his candidacy is weak without the lies. If you believe the information delivered on this show is valuable and you want to support in an easy, free way the work that we do, you can do it by clicking that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Back to the video. Then he says, I don't even know what he's asserting here.
We have the greatest social media program in history. There's never been anything like it, not even close. And yet today I read where Kamala is beating us. Well, it turned out to be misinformation and disinformation. She's not even a small fraction of what we do. But that's the way they do it. They lie. Last week they said they had 818,000 jobs that were fake, turned out. So they reported almost 1 million jobs, and it turned out that they were fake. They didn't want to report it until after the election. But you know what? We had a whistleblower or a leaker. Either one was okay.
Nope, that's not what happened. They officially revised it like they do annually. Oh, and still, okay, even with that revision, so what do you have to say about this? Even with that revision, average job growth under Biden, excluding the pandemic for both of you, so everything rebounded, then take all that away from Biden, and don't include for you the economic collapse that you mishandled, and still job growth has been stronger average monthly under Biden. What your response to that? Split screen again, Jane? By the way, since we're making it a thing, I guess I'll pick something here visually to critique. It seems his upper right forehead, he forgot to bronze before taking this video as well, so that should be noted, but we charge forward.
Comrade Kamala Harris does nothing but complain, always complaining about this or that. But she's in the administration now. Why doesn't she do something? She does nothing but talk, nothing but gripe, nothing but complain about the terrible border or the economy and inflation. But she's been there for 3.5 years. So why doesn't she fix it?
Yeah, for him to criticize someone else for griping too much or complaining too much when his whole campaign is, I'm a big victim and so vote for me, is crazy. But then also, I'm just so sick of that talking point. And again, I know you all know these things, so then it sort of feels like I'm not doing something productive when we go over them again, but at the same time, the way these segments are structured is I'm like arguing with what he's saying, so I kind of need to do it. But think about if you're a MAGA person. Please, if you stumbled across this video and you're thinking, gosh, I hate this guy. That stupid blue blazer. I want to spit on it, okay? Hold for a second and think about this. He just lied to you earlier about defund the police and communism. So already we're on a bad track record there. He doesn't even have the respect for you to take the time to put the makeup all the way up on his forehead. So that's insulting. And then he tries to act like Kamala Harris hasn't been making progress on these issues. Again, you don't have to go to a rally and hold a Kamala sign to go look at how the economy has fared compared to other economies in the world post-pandemic under Biden-Harris. To look at how Biden's recent actions on the border supported by Kamala Harris have decreased border crossings. To look at how Republicans have said, no, we won't help with any solutions, which we need when we have divided government in Congress on the border. to look at how inflation has plummeted faster in this country compared to those other comparable economies. You can look at those things and go, wait, if they really were as bad as he was saying, why are all these things happening? So she's not just complaining. She's saying, look at what we've done thus far. What could we do, especially if we had the House and Senate again, going forward? Here's more.
As president, I proudly instituted national security travel bans to keep terrorists, jihadists, and violent extremists out of our country. We want them out.
Out of our country. Out of it.
Extremists out of our country. We want them out. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden revoked my travel ban immediately, their first day in office, and they have let terrorists pour across our borders like we've never seen before. We've never seen numbers like this. I will keep America safe and keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country.
So going back to the greatest hits there in I guess advocating for what was described as the Muslim ban that he implemented. And this next claim drives me, and by the greatest hits, of course, I mean the greatest, worst hits. But when he's desperate, he goes back to what he knows. Bigoted fear-mongering, I guess you could call it. And then you have this, and this sounds nice to people. It's not nice. You don't want this, I promise. I'm trying to help you.
I'm running on a plan to cut your energy prices in half. Within 12 months of taking office, your energy prices are going to fall at levels that you've never seen before.
Do you remember last time they dropped so quickly? Under Trump? See, MAGA. You think I might be giving him credit. Sure, let's give him credit for why they plummeted. But that means we have to blame him for the circumstances that caused prices to drop so low, which was the economic crash that he mismanaged. So economically, and maybe I'm the dumb one. Someone prove me wrong. Explain, MAGA, if you would, how without severe economic pain you would obliterate the energy industry by cutting prices that rapidly, that significantly. Because we do want energy to be affordable for people. The types of numbers he's talking about only come around, like what we saw during the pandemic, when there's some sort of economic crisis. Here's this.
Trump cash versus Kamala crash. We're going to have a crash like 1929 if she gets in. It will not be pretty. Thank you.
What is this style of video? Trump cash, Kamala crash. You know, he's been saying that for a while, huh? He's been saying that if Biden got elected, there would be a Great Depression, and then everything got better. And he is now saying this about Kamala Harris. He's wrong. Every time there's a bad stock market day, he says that's because it's a Kamala crash, but then he doesn't credit her with record-breaking stock market days and the more overall performance of the stock market, which again, if you watch the show normally, we know. We get it. He's dishonest. What are we going to do? Vote. And then this next one, I don't even need to read it or play it before I actually read. This election is about the economy, inflation, open borders, respect for our nation, preventing World War III, and a 1929 style depression. Again, lie. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. If you want to get extra content daily and support this show, you can do it by clicking the join button below. And if you want to donate to Vice President Kamala Harris' campaign, you can do that by clicking the link in the description of this video. And if you want to fill out a survey to give us a sense of where you would be interested in an in-person event, you can do that by clicking one of the links in the description as well.